All right. Hey, man. It's a little cold in here, ain't it? Or is that just me?
It's not cold. We're in California.
I feel the breeze somewhere. Let me throw my jacket on real quick. Sorry. Oh, man.
It's like 70 degrees.
Gotta adjust to the weather, man. It's crazy. You see what time it is, though. You see what time it is.
Go Kings, go. Standings.
Go Kings, go. It's that time. The NBA is back. It's your boy G. Back out in the episode of Second 300. Appreciate you guys for tuning back in. Again, like, review, subscribe, all that good stuff for us. Follow us online. We're here to talk NBA things. The season's about to get underway. As you can see, I'm clearly excited for things to get going. Man, a little switch up, as you guys can tell. And yeah, definitely has some things to talk about. So let's jump into it.
You gonna wear that jacket the whole episode? I know you about to get hot.
We gonna see. All right, man. Y'all see what time it is? We back. It's your boy G, along with Alec. Get that fraud championship stuff out of my face, man. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that.
You see what time it is?
No, it's not time. We don't talk. But back for our NBA preview. Definitely a whole lot of good stuff to get into. Excited to be here. And before we even get into predictions, we're going to do a whole lot of predictions for the season. As we do, we're going to get into our standing predictions, we're going to get into award predictions, all that kind of stuff, so you guys can see where our heads at before the season, and then we'll see how things adjust as time goes along. Before that, just some headlines heading into the season. Definitely some crazy things going on already in the league I wanted to talk about. Most notably, we just saw this last week, things going on with Draymond Green. He had his scuffle with Jordan Poole the other day that led to him being removed from the team for a little while. But as the season's getting ready to get started, they've already announced that he won't actually be suspended for any game time. And it's led to folks having a whole lot of reaction to it. So just starting there, Alec, you think Draymond should be suspended, or that the Warriors get the right call?
Well, first off, things going on with Draymond Green is a funny way to phrase he punched his teammate in the face. But yeah, I did get to watch the comments from Kerr after you had seen it, and it was kind of contradictory because he was like, "This is the worst thing like we've ever had happen in our franchise," but he will not serve any suspension. We've talked about it extensively, which like talking is only going to do so much. Like you still got to play with this guy for 82 games, unless someone's getting traded.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, so it definitely. While they may have like pieced it up and whatever and had their players only meetings and whatnot, like it definitely sets an odd precedent when you don't really punish him beyond a fine, because all these guys are multimillionaires. So a little bit of a pocket check-in is not going to help in this situation specifically. I don't think it's kind of a slap on the wrist, whereas Poole got punched in the face. So I don't feel like the punishment really fit the crime here. I understand where you're coming from, and I'll let you speak on your point. But yeah, I just felt like Draymond easily could have sat down for a couple games, and this isn't the first time where Draymond has caused a rift in the locker room. And last time we saw it resulted in the best player on their team leaving in Kevin Durant. So.
Steph left? I'm playing.
No. I understand. I'm no KD lover, but he was the best player on the championship teams for sure. So yeah, I just felt like it was kind of a weak response from Kerr. I felt like they really might not have done anything if the video didn't come out, to be honest, because like there was talk about like it just kind of being like brushed aside. But then once the video came out, it was like, y'all got to do something about this, because this is gonna affect the team going forward. This wasn't just like a basketball dispute where guys like got heated in the heat of battle. This was like in the middle of a dead time in practice. They were just jawing at each other, and he takes a swing. So yeah, I felt like there needed to be a little bit more accountability for Draymond there. and like he took some personal accountability, but I feel like the team should have handled it a little bit better, personally.
I get that, and there are folks. Not even this is you, but I'm saying beyond you on social media and things. There are folks that over dramatize everything and immediately say, "Oh, suspend them for 10 games," or they do this and all his game sets and all this and the third. And I, again, as you already kind of pointed out, I'm on the pretty much opposite side. I think that's something that should have just been solely handled in house. And the only reason that it has public backlash as it does is because we saw the video of it and all that came with that. But there are times that we've seen players. There are some players that we can talk about, and we'll kind of circle back around to possibly. Some players are kind of fronting a bit about how, oh, he needs to be punished for this without realizing that they may have been in the same situation themselves, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. There are others that I agree with when they say that while we don't see it often, there are disputes between guys often in practices and things, and guys jar all the time. Obviously, punches don't get thrown to this extent, but we do know that guys can get real animated in the comfort of those arenas at times. So, with that being the case, I was fine with this organization handling it in-house and moving on from there. This isn't a team where like the Magic, where it's a bunch of young kids and you have to send a message early on to make sure you set a precedent for the team going forward. This team is already a team full of champions that have a established culture top to bottom. And as we saw, Adam Silver really, I think he said he was really going to step in until the video.
Yeah, I don't think he should. I don't think the NBA should.
This is a thing where the team should have just handled it and they can implement whatever punishment that they see fit. Fines, while it may not be enough to us, that will do it. And yeah, I just think this should just be a thing that they handle behind closed doors and go from there. Whether you want to believe what they're saying or not, Draymond does seem sympathetic to the situation and understanding of what he did was wrong. Everybody across the board has said that they had extensive talks about what's going on. He definitely has to regain that trust for the team. I believe Jordan Poole is playing in the preseason games and still seemed to be showing that he was in good spirits and all of that, which is good to see. But I just think that
Draymond wasn't on the court though.
Draymond was not on the court.
He'll be in there Friday, I believe.
I definitely understand that. To just to that point first, I think it should be handled in-house. And then to the point about its suspension.
When you say that, hold up. Because it is being handled in-house. It's just not being handled well in-house by a lot of people's opinion. Like, this is in-house.
Well, I'm saying to other people's opinion, I think they're handling it wrong in-house. I think they are doing fine with how they're going about it. And I think that them having whatever talks and things that are going on behind the closed doors, knowing already that Draymond is the animated character that he's been for a decade now. And while this is another step in that, I believe that just talking to him, finding him, or whatever they're doing within their organization, I think will be enough punishment, and that he'll understand that what he did was wrong, and will maintain himself going forward. I don't think the added outside noise makes any difference.
No, the caveat that you gave there, saying like Draymond, Draymond's an animated guy and so forth, like his history, is part of the problem I have with it, because like you're just allowing him to get off the hook, like. Whether it's wrong or right, like players get like preferential treatment from time to time, but like in a situation where it affects team chemistry, I feel like
maybe I worded it wrong. I don't think he's off the hook. It may seem like it from outside because we don't know what all is fully going on, but I think they're gonna make sure he has the punishment that needs to be felt when he's in that facility. So I'm just gonna I believe that. Based on just seeing how they have ran their things for how they've gone about it for so long, and believe that they'll do that again in this situation as well.
Yeah,
we may not know about it; it may not fully come out what goes on, but I think he will feel the weight of what he did.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know all the inside of like what's happening unless it's caught on video again. But I mean, if he gets traded, then I understand. But if he's still in that locker room, like. It's going to be an underlying thing throughout the season. Like, they can, I guess, get off to an exceptional start. Like, that may be the only thing that kind of covers it up.
Right.
If they're, like, on a historic pace or something. But as soon as there's a little bit of issue, or as soon as someone kind of looks at someone sideways, like this is going to be a story throughout the season. So whether or not they're strong enough to just ignore it or whatever, KD wasn't. It clearly affected him. So I think it's going to be a concern throughout the season whether or not they want to buy into that it will be in the media. But
it's absolutely going to be a concern. I totally get that. I just also believe that the Warriors are equipped enough to handle that, and that these guys that have been through every situation pretty much you can imagine with that team, they are going to be able to hopefully withstand the pressures that come with it from the outside as well. So I totally get that. There might be a game where Draymond doesn't pass to Jordan in a moment. All of a sudden the stories are going to be, what does Draymond have against? But I think that team is grown enough to withstand whatever the media throws their way, especially for a guy like Draymond, ironically, who's trying to be new media and understand how the games can be played.
To that point, do you think Draymond is trying to get to LA? Not that that's why he punched him, but like some of the moves and some of how he's talking is like, obviously we know he's clutch and all that, and he's close with LeBron and that, but like some of this, I think you said the clip where he was like bigging up LeBron's like
this is our 18th episode, which is also the same number of All-Star games that LeBron like, bro.
Come on, bro.
Take this more out your mouth, man. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I totally get that. I totally get that. There'll be scenes that way, and maybe he sees writing on the wall and is trying to position himself to get to LA one day. But I think he still has to see it through with the Warriors for as long as he can, and continue to make title runs as his team is capable of while he's in that jersey. So yeah, if going forward after this season he doesn't get renewed and the Lakers are the team that he ends up going to, it'll be a match made in heaven. That is clearly the second team he wants to be at. Also on the shop, he talked about how he doesn't get up for bad teams. He get through a slight Kings and stuff like that. So he's not going to want to go to a bad team. So if the Lakers position themselves, surely that's where he's going to want to go. I think the Warriors still are our top priority, and he's going to handle himself accordingly while in that building. So we'll see how things go from here.
So what did Jordan Poole say to that man? Because
I'm sure he can say something.
You want to swing on him, like, geez.
Yeah. And I'm not at all defending it. But you see at times guys push back and forth, and Jordan did get in the little shit.
I've in fights in practice too. It happens. But like he straight up swung on him.
Draymond swung on him, and then just catching him as he did was the worst part. Jordan, I guess, wasn't expecting that haymaker coming back, so threw that little shove and caught him in the jaw and dropped immediately, and it wasn't a good look. So, that definitely is an interesting situation I wanted to talk about first because that's the biggest headline of the NBA so far. Lastly, in regards to the suspension part, as you kind of already addressed, the other thing, the sad reality of it, of why he won't be suspended, I believe, is because they won the ring last year, and you want to have your guys on the court for that first game. As you're giving them the rings and having that ceremony, you don't want to say, "Here are our guys," and then actually, while they are the best, we got to sit one down because he swung on another guy. So it's not.
Everyone knows what happened. It's no secret. So
everyone does know it happened. But I think them moving past it as fast as possible will allow at least the fans to move past it, hopefully. And then the media will do what they do. But yeah, I think just moving past it, moving past it publicly and handling things behind closed doors, is the best way for them to go. Going forward. So yeah, that was it with the Warriors right now. Moving on to the other headlines in the league, there seems to be two sides of the NBA. You have the teams that are possibly in contention, and then if you're potentially a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seed, go ahead and have some load management and tank for Victor Wembanyama. How you say his name? He seems to be the next one. And even beyond him, this seems like to be a stacked draft. So teams are going to be doing some nasty positioning to get in as high of a pick as possible for these guys coming up. What do you think of Victor? What do you think of Scoop? And do you think that tanking is going to be truly worth it this year?
Tanking worth it for Wembanyama. Yeah, he appears to be a generational prospect for sure. I mean, obviously the 7'4" frame, I think it is, and and the guard skills that he has with it. We saw it on display in that game against Scoot's team. Scoot looks like a NBA ready prospect in his own right as far as his guard skills and his finishing ability. The tanking I understand for Wembanyama. I hate tanking in general, just as a concept. And like as a competitor, I get it from organizational standpoint when you're trying to get a high pick, but that's why I'm a strong proponent of the play-in scenario where teams are actually competing at the end of the season.
Yep.
But yeah, it should be a good draft class. I don't know a whole lot about the draft class beyond those two. I know there are supposed to be others in it that are going to be really good as well. But yeah, those two showed why they are consensus right now, like top 2 picks.
Absolutely. Here's the next question with that. Wow, yes, there should be a lot. There should be at least a handful of teams that are really wanting to get him on their team going forward. Is he bound for OKC no matter what, though? Because as we've seen the last couple of years, OKC stacked up 35 picks.
Right.
So it's going to be a situation where even if a team gets the first pick, if you get the first pick, but Sam Presti calls, hey, here's 17 picks, and Shai Gilgeous, give us Victor, and you guys can go. Yeah. It's going to be hard to turn that down. So is he bound for OKC no matter what?
Yeah, I saw someone post a TikTok or something about that exact scenario, like whether this was like the moment that Sam Presti has been like saving the picks for. Not necessarily that it was specifically for Wembanyama, but a prospect of this caliber where you could flip the picks and get supreme talent in return or whatever. So, it's possible that regardless they do get Wembanyama because I think a team would be heavily enticed by multiple first-round picks in multiple drafts. So, which they have. So, yeah, it's very possible. I don't know how I like the twin tower guard skill players together. To be honest, it's maybe a good problem to have as far as figuring out that combination.
Meaning what?
Chet and Wembanyama together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're both 7 foot plus guard type players.
Right.
So I don't love that fit, but like. It's potentially a good problem to have just with the talent that they each individually have.
It's a good problem to have. And while many people are saying Shai may be the one that gets moved if they need to make a trade, maybe it's Chet if they see that they are in position to get Victor. Hey, we're going to make Victor our big instead of Chet. Here, take Chet. He was our last year top pick. Take him instead and take these picks and we'll roll with the other guy instead. So they can work that out pretty well either way. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's very possible. It's very possible. But, yeah, there will be some nasty tank attempts. Adam Silver already tried to get ahead of it, telling teams, like, to play competitive basketball, essentially. But
and they're trying to continue to find ways to make it more competitive. I don't think it's this year, but they have already had the talks about the tournament as well that they're implement. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And what do you think of the tournament?
I think the last time we talked about it, I was more in favor of throwing something new in there just because of I forget, someone made like a point about it. I'm blanking though. But I was like more in favor of, I think it might have been Adam Silver himself who was just like describing it, what the in-season tournament could look like. But I was more in favor of it than I initially was because I initially kind of hated it, but I'm okay with the idea, especially if it's like potentially like younger players that are like competing in it, not necessarily the veteran guys or however they determine it.
I think they said it won't be added games. I think it will be part of the schedule in a way. Like if you qualify for that tournament, those games just count towards that and add up into points or whatever. So yeah, I like that. It won't completely change the season. It just adds more accolades potentially for guys to strive for. So I'm with you on that as well. So definitely excited for how the season's going. We talked about the Warriors on one side. We talked about team at the bottom, checking for Victor and all of that. The two more things I want to talk about. One, I guess kind of in the same lane as Victor, but before him, there are a lot of folks that were very hyped about Luka. And Luka's here trying to make his presence felt. There's been a lot of talk about him this offseason that he's had some impressive showings playing in Euro basketball. And I think they had their tournament over, wherever that was over the summer and things. And people for a couple of years now have believed that shortly we're going to be entering into Luka's era, and he's going to start taking over. And I just wanted to bring that up because, one, do you believe he's as dominant as people make him seem?
Yes and no. I was a little surprised when I saw this on your notes because I was like, interesting. Like, does he have an anti-Luka agenda on here that I don't know about, kind of? But to answer your question,
yeah, go ahead. You first.
Real quick. I say yes and no because I do think Luka is like a top 5 playmaker in the league, and as well as like creator for himself in the league. Right. So I do think he has MVP caliber talent, but I do think he also does get overrated by people like very consistently, and he hasn't quite shown us the best player like in the world type stuff that other guys have who are proven, like a Giannis or a Steph or a KD or a Bron. I'd still take all those guys over Luka in a playoff series, regardless of their age. Like I would take all of those individual. I think I just said 5 guys. I'd take all of them ahead of him. But he would be like in that conversation. Like he'd be like right outside of that conversation. But those guys have done it already. So I agree that he does need to prove it in a sense. But he has proven his individual talent. He just hasn't got to like the winning side of it. Yeah.
I totally understand that and hear what you're saying. He's very, very young still, which is great. As we've seen with guys, Jordan going back and then LeBron and people, it takes till about year 9, 10 or whatever.
And he's done a lot of it on his own.
To get into that dominant era. So maybe right now he's still developing his game in order to get to that point. I just asked it because people are already saying it's about to be his league. People are already saying that his era, whatever, he's going to start getting the MVPs. And I still feel like, while he is great, I still feel like we still may be another year away from that. Not only because of who he is, but as you also pointed out, because who else is also in the league doing their thing as well. Now, if agenda's coming into play, surely that plays its part. I know the league wants to have Luka as their guy. So if they're ready to push that button, I'm not against it. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as many are championing it to be. Also, in regards to the Luka's era, I just question that as well, because if you look to who also is going right now, Steph has a couple of years left. Giannis has a few years that are going to be happy after that.
Still young.
Giannis is still very young. Kawhi is sitting here and could disrupt somebody some kind of way. And then you look younger, you got Zion coming up. You got a few young teams coming up. You got Victor on the way. And it's like, this might be a time for Luka to, while I don't believe it is, if he's going to capitalize on the moment, now that has to be it, because it could get real scary once more guys start really developing in the league as well. So just looking at that, do you think now actually is a time for Luka to figure it out, or he can still figure it out as guys rise alongside him as well?
I mean, just thinking about it, like maybe they should have made the move for like Gobert or something like that, because like I feel like he needs another All-Star. That's probably a big.
You don't think Christian Woods is going to do it?
I think Christian Wood is good, but I'm saying like what Gobert brings to the defensive side for sure is proven, and then the rebounding, and then there's someone to like pair with Luka as far as his game. Obviously, you can pair Wood with him too. I think Wood is going to be effective, but they're talking about bringing him off the bench. Like they're talking about making him Superman. So
correct.
Just another All-Star like with Luka is what he needs, and so I'm thinking more like a big than like a wing, because Luka's a wing, but he's a point guard, and he does best with like shooters and spacing. So like if he had like, I don't know, maybe a stretch big, maybe not Gobert, but. Yeah,
it was supposed to be Porzingis, but that didn't work either. So,
Porzingis don't got that dog in him, to be honest.
No, he don't. Just cast some checks and move along. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think that will be like the final piece because they don't really have a second All-Star still, and we've seen like that's kind of the formula. Like championship teams don't typically win with like just one guy.
Right.
It's been a minute since one has with just one guy. Like I don't like maybe the Raptors, I guess, like with Kawhi.
Right.
But most of these teams, it's at least 2, sometimes 3 all-star caliber to superstar caliber players. And Luka's kind of been on an island. They got the coach set up. They got the defensive scheme. They got the shooting around him. But I think it's a team destined for a second round exit this time. I think the West gets better.
Right.
So until that, like we're saying, he has to prove it by winning. But like you said, there's a lot of talent in this league, and he doesn't quite have enough of it on his team. So, yeah, I think they're going to need to bring in another all-star for him, or he's going to want out of it.
To that point, there are a lot of folks that love to make the LeBron comparison with him because of all that he does on the court. He's very versatile and triple doubles and all everything he can get. He finds his spots and does all that he does.
Athleticism. Yeah.
While talent-wise, that may be the proper comparison. I'm not going to dispute that because I definitely see what he can do. In regards to career-wise, I think, I guess maybe this is a hot take, I would hope that he tries to model his career or I don't know, because I think he just play his game. But I guess for our media side take, if he's modeling his career off of somebody, it's even more so like Dirk than Luke, than LeBron, in my opinion. Try to be on a team where you find stability that's going to make sure they cater to your needs, as they did for Dirk for all those years that he was with them.
Yeah.
And then try to get as good a team as possible and capitalize on the moment and go get you one, rather than trying to do a LeBron where I don't think we're going to see a LeBron run from him where he goes to 10 straight finals. So no, I don't think he's that guy. So in that regard, I think trying to just try to go and get you one should be his goal. Which maybe that's a foul thing to say, and it's kind of a diminishing take of him. But I just constantly see he's the next LeBron. He's the one that's going to carry the league from here. And I'm like, I see a lot more career-wise. I see his career playing out a lot more like Dirk than LeBron's, respectfully. Which is still he's still a great top. Was Dirk's the top 2 power forward, whatever some people say, or like whatever the case may be. That's not a bad thing. Yeah. But I see people always throwing the LeBron things, and I don't fully see it. What do you say about comparing him more to Dirk than LeBron?
Well, I like that, and I feel like Dallas. I mean, he's in Dallas, so it helps.
That kind of was the point. Yeah.
But it helps. I mean, because Mark Cuban is still there, and Mark Cuban was the architect, part of the person building that organization when Dirk was around too. So he's gonna seek to cater to Luka's needs. Like he loves Luka. He loves his white Aryan rosters. So you know he's gonna
try. He almost had the full 5, but they all couldn't quite mesh. So it was what it was.
Yeah. But you know that he's gonna try to build around Luka, and I think they have tried to do that. I just think they're missing one of those pieces. And Dirk, I guess you could say Dirk did it on his lonesome in a way, as far as being the only all-star. They had other good pieces like aging Jason Kidd, who was still good, and Jason Terry and Tyson Chandler and that kind of thing when they won their title. But Dirk was kind of on his own as far as all-star level talent on that team. So it could be possible. I think in this era of the NBA, you need more with all the guys that are teaming up together. You're going to need a little bit more. And when we saw that in this last playoffs, which I was going to give Luka credit for, because that was a great run by him with this Mavs team. They just ran into a buzzsaw in the Warriors, who were the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. And he still played well in that series. So, I think comparing him to LeBron makes sense. Because he is, like I said, LeBron without the athleticism, kind of.
Right.
And he plays that like heliocentric type of basketball where the ball is in his hand.
LeBron with sneaky athleticism.
not even sneaky. Like I don't see Luka as an athlete like that, you know. Like
no, I get you.
It's not just because he's white. Like it's just how he plays.
He plays. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not an above the rim type of player at all. So, Yeah, I don't mind the Dirk comparison because of the situation, the organization, how they'll seek to build the team around him. But he plays more like LeBron than he does a Dirk. Like he plays like he is the center of that offense and everything runs through him.
Yep.
So I understand that comparison.
Yeah. Got you. So yeah, we shall see. Definitely wasn't at all meant to hate on him. I guess it's more so a reaction to the social media comments I see about him all the time. So yeah, we'll see how his career plays out. Excited for it. Excited to see what he does this season with this squad. Definitely going to be a fun one. That's it with Luka. But lastly, with our individual kind of previews of things, let's go ahead and talk about your Lakers, man. Yeah, I was saving the worst for last. So let's go ahead and
hey, let's set the record straight now. You're a Kings fan. You're no longer a Lakers fan.
So yeah, let's go ahead and address what you guys see here. As I've kind of mentioned on the show for a couple of years now, I've grownly frustrated with LA and this squad. It seems like every year they do more just to frustrate me. Even when they won the ring, while I definitely appreciated them adding another banner and continuing that rivalry with the Celtics and things. Yeah. On the court, in regards to entertainment and things, I have not had really any joy watching this team really at all. Really since LeBron got here, and then all that followed. Wasn't a fan of Rondo and all those guys and Dwight. A lot of guys that we grew up as Laker fans very anti and against ended up here winning the ring for us, and it just had me really in the bind as you guys kind of saw. Also on top of that, as I have kind of did jokingly on the side at times, but there was some truth to it. I do like supporting the Kings a little bit, and even in their struggles, have enjoyed seeing them trying to build something over there, and get things right. They haven't had much success. I know there's plenty of jokes to be thrown, but I believe, we know.
That playoff drought is like
it's
19 years,
65 years long. It feels like, but no, even still, I jokingly, but also for real at times, just enjoy following them. So I was like, F it. I'm a fully switch sides this season and make the Kings number one this year for me. So I'm going with the Kings this year and supporting them. Definitely still gonna rock with the Lakers. We're gonna talk about them plenty. But yeah, excited to see what the Kings can do, and we'll talk about them a little bit on here as well. So from where it seems online, I'm one of like 6 Kings fans. And even me, as I just said, is kind of halfway in the door. But even still, I'm a hope for their success for things going on up there. As we also talk about the things going on with the Lakers as well. So gonna give me some fun stuff, that conversation we're gonna have. Yeah, I'm sure you got the jokes lined up, and I'm ready for it.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to get you a number 11 Kings jersey.
Oh man, I got a few jerseys I gotta get. I got a list already.
The perennial 11 seed. You're not gonna like my standings. I'm interested to see where you have the Kings in your standings.
I'm still realistic. I got them low, but I got them getting in. I'll say that.
Okay.
and we'll talk about it. But as we do, I do want to focus on LA and we'll talk about the Lakers. Going to the Lakers in this season, there's a whole lot going on with them. LeBron's still in the building. Eddie's back, and we're hoping that he gets right. Russ is here and doing that. There's a whole new supporting cast. Patrick Beverly's now in the building. Austin Reeves is here, which is great. People love him. But we got a whole bunch of Lonnie Walker and Troy Brown and Juan Anderson and Thomas Bryant is back and Damian Jones and all of this, as well as new head coach and Darvin Ham, whom people are excited to see what schemes he implements for this roster. So we're expectations for the team. And do you think first, you think we have a better season than we did last year?
Right off the bat, yes. I do think this team is a little bit better. They're a lot better if AD and Ron are healthy. So that's like, it's health dependent. But they're significantly better if both these guys play at least 75% of the games. But I think some of the slight adjustments as far as getting a little bit younger, not as many like old, slow guys like DeAndre Jordan and Dwight were just really bad last year.
Yeah.
We got a little bit younger at the big man position, and those guys can run with us. They're by no means like great NBA players. Thomas Bryant is a solid like backup center. He's like not someone you want to start as a center really. Same with Damian Jones. He's a solid backup center. But I'm hoping that Darvin Ham will just be like, AD, like you need to get over it and just play the 5.
Right.
Because that's when the Lakers are at their best, especially with their current roster, because they have a couple smaller guys that they picked up, and Kendrick Nunn actually healthy this year, and then they brought back Schroeder as well. So
that's correct.
Some of these lineups are going to be smaller, and you're going to want AD at the 5 because it gives you a lot of versatility. But just on the whole, I don't want to spoil my ranking yet because I'll get into the standings, but I'll say
just say you let get in. We'll start with that.
I'll say they get in, and I stand by my comment that I think they're a 45-win team.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think we put a bet on, and I think the marker was 45. You took the over. I took the under. Even with all the new pieces that are there and the potential of new schemes and things, I think we are in the preseason, as we see with a lot of teams, you get hyped up by new things and
they've been bad in the preseason, by the way. Like
and they have been bad in the preseason.
They've been getting blown out and stuff.
I don't really talk about those games because partially, like the Kings game that they did, they were up early in the game,
exactly.
And sat the starters, and then So I don't really even count that.
Yeah.
But people can get blinded by new additions and the start of a new season, and then everything gets set high, and then games really start, and reality sits in. It's like, okay, wait, maybe these high hopes that I had weren't actually what I thought. Right. And while there are a lot of new pieces for this team, and while we added a lot of wings, and that was partially our issue last year, and while we may have a new positioning for Russ, and we may have AD a little bit healthier, I still think that in a vacuum this team may look nice, but against what is going on across just the West, I think it's still going to be a very tough road for them, and it's going to be hard for them to even get to that 45 mark, which is why I took the under on that. So we will see some improvements from them. I think we're going to see more than I forgot what the number was, but we're going to see more games, as you pointed out, from LeBron, AD, and Russ playing together and things, which surely will help. And we'll see better, clearer roles for guys and all of that. But when it comes down to who they actually got to play against on the other side in these games, I think they're still going to end up losing some games just because there are other teams that got some real dogs over there as well. And it's going to be a tough fight for a lot of folks in their playoff pushes. So, I'm taking the under, but it's still going to be a decent season for the Lakers this season.
The same question.
We'll see how it goes.
The same question you asked me. Do you think they'll be better than last year?
Technically, yes.
And just by record, just let you know, record, they were 33-49 last year.
They'll be a little bit better than that. They'll get closer to 40. Again, I don't think they get over 45, but they might get around that 41, something like that.
40 would have put them at like 8 seed almost, like playing.
Yeah, so I think they get a little. They may not be playing. They might get right above that. We'll talk about that. I have my standings as well. We'll talk about it. But I think they'll be maybe right above that. But even still, I don't know how much of a playoff push may come alongside that. So we shall see. Going more in depth, what would you like to see Russ's role to be for this squad?
I mean, what I'd like to see ultimately is him as the pure point guard. I don't know how much he gets to do that with LeBron there. That's why there's an issue with the fit. I guess the quick
question: Have we ever seen Russ as a pure point guard?
Yeah, in OKC.
Well, even in that, he
OKC and Washington.
While he was the triple-double guy and things, it definitely felt like he was score first in that.
I mean, maybe out of necessity, but he's still very much playmaking.
Well, then I'll ask another question. When you say we see Russ as a pure point guard for this team, what do you mean by that?
I mean, so I mean more of the usage. I'm sure the usage will be kind of split between him and LeBron, but more of the offense starting like with him at the top, that kind of thing, as opposed to him like off in the corner. Like I know that they want to use him sometimes like shooting out of the corner, but just relegating him to like using him as a screener or in the corner, like I don't think that best suits his game. I think they're going to need a lot more from him defensively, so that's going to be on him, like effort-wise, putting in the focus and the work defensively to earn more of a role on the offensive end as well, too.
Right.
And obviously LeBron is top 3 playmaker in the world, so you want the ball in his hands a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Russ thrives the most with the ball in his hands as well, too. Whereas LeBron can thrive a little bit more than Russ can off ball. So you already saw some actions with like LeBron coming off ball, catching it, throwing a quick pass down low and getting a bucket in the preseason. So it seems like Darvin Ham is going to try to scheme a little bit better than Vogel did as far as using Bron off ball too.
Right.
So I am excited to see like how Darvin Ham utilizes him, because I think Bron will predominantly get the ball, but I'd like to see Russ initiating more too.
Well, yeah. So to that point, and which was part of my slight confusion, thinking that LeBron may play more of that point forward type role, as he always done in his career. Having him having Russ as the true point guard alongside him, I still don't know how that meshes. What I do think though is that if you put Reeves, I guess, and if you put Beverly, guys that don't necessarily need the ball like that, alongside Bron in the front in the backcourt, that could better spread things out there. And then you could use Russ, maybe bring him off the bench potentially, and let him play as dominantly as he wants to play in that role. And you can mesh things. You can bring in, of course, Russ to play alongside Bron at times and let them do their thing, but maybe better stagger them so that LeBron can have his moments to run the offense as he wants to run it, and the Russ can have his moments to play his style of game as well. We'll see how that goes. But that was kind of a thought that I had.
I think you should stagger them. I don't think Russ should come off the bench, because ultimately you're going to want them all on the floor at the same time in the end of games. So you want them to build the chemistry together, Russ and Bron.
Maybe, and I'll correct myself.
Like maybe they start and Russ comes off for a spell.
That was going to be my correction, and I'll correct myself in that regard. I guess that's more so what I would like to see. I like to see more so of a staggering of the playing time, so they both can play as they want to. So maybe not to the extreme. I know that there's a lot of anti-Russ folks that
I don't think you are that guy.
I don't want to play into that narrative, because I do think that Russ still is a great player. I'm not playing into that, but just in wanting to see them play the best thing that they both can play, I think it's going to require them to be staggered at times to do so. So that's more so the angle, and I'll correct myself in that and say that's why I hope that Darvin fix it. Coach Ham, excuse me, respectfully, fix his. I won't call him Frank yet. I won't give him the Vogel treatment. I'll give Darvin Coach Ham his respect to start, and we'll go from there. I hope that Coach Ham can adjust that for the squad, and it will benefit them in their run. So that's the big three, or that's the Russ in his role in regards to LeBron. Also, we have our championship guy as well that's here, AD. It's time, right? Clock's ticking on AD, isn't it? We want to see something from him. What are your expectations for AD this year?
I think I was correct when we did that segment where we were like buying or selling, and I said I was selling on AD.
I was real wide-eyed. I was confused, but you've won that so far.
He needs to prove it to us. He's played like a player who believes he's proven now that he got a chip in the bubble, but after that, it's been. I guess he tried to get bigger, and that did not work. He got slower and looked less athletic. He's continued to get hurt. So, I don't know if it's more working out the core and the lower body, but hopefully he's continued to strengthen his body. I know he wants to be out there, but he's continuously missed a lot of games, and he's gotten this street clothes moniker now. And if he wants to shake that, he needs to play. He talked about wanting to play 82 games. Let's just play 70. Just play most of the games.
Slow down, bud.
Right? We want you out there and playing at an all-star level, playing at a superstar level, playing at the top 5 level that we all think you can be. You've shown you can be in spurts. You showed you can be in 2020. We need that in order for them to be a contending team. Right now, they're not a contender if AD is not all-world. If AD is all-world, even with the roster not being as strong as other teams, they are still a contender because you have AD and LeBron. But if he's not all-world, like, it's not – this season is really going to be kind of a wash because LeBron is aging. He's 37. He still can get his 30, but we saw last year him getting his 30 doesn't necessarily translate to wins.
And also, might require he sits down the next 2 after that.
This is true.
There are a couple of games he dropped. I think there was one game, I guess, like the Thunder or something like that. He had like 45 or something like that, and he like sacked like a week straight. I was like, all right, man, what are we doing?
So the team's success really, truly does hinge on AD, but I think Darvin Ham can make it easier on all the guys with how he schemes, with how he has the defense running, with how he uses his rotations, because the team wasn't well coached last year either from Vogel. I don't think Vogel's a bad coach, but I don't think he did a good job last year.
I don't think he wanted to be there.
No. I mean, once they traded for Russ, he clearly didn't want Russ there. Like once they traded for Russ, I don't think he really.
I think it was me. I think he said me or him. They said him, so he was like, "Well, fire me," and he was like, "Well, we're not going to do that yet." So he's like, "I'm gonna force y'all to fire me then. Y'all figure it out."
Essentially, in a sense, yeah. Praying for good vibes. Maybe they needed to trade for Kyrie to get the Sage going. But
oh man, you would have hated that more than me. You would have had the Kings jersey on.
Trust me. Yeah, I'd have my Zion jersey in the mail immediately.
I like them too. Salute to them.
And we should talk about like our teams that we're gonna be like watching our what's it called?
I'll get to that.
Teams. But yeah, it hinges on the AD. Obviously, you need LeBron to do his thing. We need a better version of Russ, the Russ that we more so know have seen in previous years, and hopefully we put together that team that I think we can be.
Absolutely. So yeah, I definitely agree with you with that. Is there anything else with the team you want to address real quick before we go on to our predictions?
I'm not mad at some of the moves that we made. Rob Pelinka got extended as well for I believe 4 years or something like that. I said I was kind of indifferent on it. Like I'm not extreme one way or the other. I think the move to get AD obviously got us a ring, so I'm not mad at that. As much as I loved the young guys, I'm not mad at him for the Russ deal. While the fit wasn't good initially, because his 2 top players requested that move. Like, we
see how it was more of a coaching issue than a player thing.
Exactly. Like, do you want him to just strong arm and not listen to the 2 superstars? Like, maybe some fans do want that. Like, want their GM to have complete autonomy when making decisions. But I feel like we've seen the best organizations are consulting their best players on moves like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at him for the Russ trade. While there may have been a Buddy Hield deal, I don't think that wins them the title last year either.
No.
So. Yeah,
we're going to see it this year though, because people still say that's on the table with Russ to Buddy and Miles Turner for Russ.
Miles Turner, I'm not sold on Miles Turner he's like another AD as far as street clothes, and then Buddy Hield potentially like the fit next to LeBron looks nice on paper as far as his shooting ability. A lot of times we see guys come to the Lakers and don't shoot like they used to shoot for other teams too. So I'm not 100% sold on that, but. I wouldn't be mad at it. I would like to see how they utilize this big 3 currently under Darvin Ham's system first.
Right.
And I think that's what they want to see too. Because I think they are open to trading Russ still. Like I think they shopped him throughout the season and didn't find the deal they liked.
Yeah.
And decided we're gonna try to see if we can make this work with Darvin Ham because he has faith in Russ and this team. If they can't make it work, I think a deadline move will be made. But if they can make it work, I think the ceiling is super high, but the floor is also kind of low.
Yeah.
if they don't stay healthy too. So yeah,
I agree. So we definitely shall see. I guess the last quick note. I'm glad we're actually going to see Kendrick Nunn on the court this time, and that won't be a year of wondering who this guy is. So we'll see how that plays out.
The streets of LA are probably happy too because
oh man, hey, well, I not my business, but I understand. But so yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And yeah, that was the last preview that we had, and we'll jump into our predictions. So yeah, good little stuff going on there. I'm across the league, a lot of headlines to talk about. Let us know what you guys think in the comments and all of that. Again, all of our social media on the bottom, going across the ticker there. Appreciate all the love there.